Today there was a community catch-up in Adelaide hosted by the Honourable Steve Georganas, Federal Member of Parliament from Adelaide, along with the Honourable Kristina Keneally, who is Shadow Minister for Immigration and Citizenship. Lot of questions were raised during this meeting, concerns were raised in this meeting by various community leaders, particularly from Afghan community and from other communities as well, with some specific issues of the visa delays and the type of delays it's taking and type of pressure, the stress it's taking on the community. This event witnessed a good number of representatives from various migration agents as well as from community leaders, and soon we can expect some declaration or some sort of announcement from the Labour Party in regards to long-term parent visa and parent visitor visa, subclass of various visas.
Clear the backlogs. There's a backlog of about 150,000 people waiting for their citizenship. There's a backlog of about 60,000 people waiting for partner visas. There are backlogs in parent visas where people will not ever really get a visa in time for it to be useful to them. And the government's failure to use a time when nobody was coming into the country to clear those backlogs means that now as the country opens up, those backlogs are only going to grow bigger. Because as more people seek to come here, the backlog is just going to get bigger.
And they wait, their family members now in Afghanistan, they don't know where they are, they're not allowed to travel, they're not allowed to visit them. So are you intending that you promise that you are going to address the other backlogs, also to address this cohort of people as well?
Yeah. So, and Abby, that was one of the points you raised too as well, and about Afghanistan. And I have to say, my heart breaks and still does for what's happened, particularly during the fall of Kabul. And I hope, and I assume you will know people and you'll have family and friends there. And I hope that they are safe. Really, we should have been getting people out of Afghanistan for years before the Taliban advanced on Kabul, particularly those people who assisted Australians and their families. And then as it became clear the Taliban was advancing on Kabul, we should have been doing more to get people out earlier. Now, the issue with Ukraine has been raised with me multiple times. And it is my view, and I know that people are very angry with the Prime Minister when he said Ukrainians are at the top of the pile. And it is my view that we have a special obligation to Afghanistan. And whilst what's happening in Ukraine is...
Second 5 year of imprisonment if they come back, which was un-Australian and never happened in Australia before. And I mean, I know many stories about that, and it was criticized around the world, not just in Australia, for what the government did to its own citizens. And I want to thank to the community leader who stand up against this decision, and the government has to take it back. And now, all I want to say that during my years of campaigning, I can tell you one thing, that people are very happy what the Labour policy about long-stay parent visa in last after election. So people are happy with that. I'm requesting me to stick with that in this special elections. So it was like reducing the fees up to 25% and uncapped visa and no set of parents. You know, you can't. You know what I mean. So
yes,
that was your last policy. And I mean, the other thing is it's very unfair, it's very un-Australian. The government is trying to make money from the grandparents who are trying to visit their grandchildren. I mean, if you're applying a 3-year visa now, I mean, 1-year visitor visa, the government grants you 3-year parent visa, which is visitor visa. And in that visa, the cost is only $145. And you can stay 2 years in that visa in Australia. So 1 year, then you have to go back for 6 months, and you can come back for another year. Which is like, you can stay 2 years in that 3 years period of time. And under this new 3-year visa, the government is asking $5,090 to in 1 year, except it's still a parent visa. So, I mean, it's just a tourist visa, there is no burden on taxpayers. And I was listening to your conversations last week in Melbourne. Yeah, so I'm totally agree with you that we need to provide some realistic solution of the problems. Permanent migration of parents is very hard at the moment. But we need to find a solution for that. So we need to, because the parents are getting old in the countries, staying there, and there's no one to look after them. So we need to take a reasonable and realistic approach to solve this problem. And when we started this petition and we started this campaign, we took the realistic approach. We took a temporary tourist visa for these parents. We choose the petitioning about that. So there will be no burden on Australian taxpayers, and parents can still make it until we find a suitable solution.
Collecting fees from people who will really never get a visa in time for it to work for them. So we do need something that is more flexible, we need something that is more realistic, we need something that's more affordable, and to be blunt, we need something that does actually not put a burden on the taxpayer. But it needs to work for families. So this is one of those areas where I'm not going to announce it today, but we have
over faith in you in
yes.
the Labour Party and Steve George.
Yes, well, you should have faith in Steve. He's raised it with me.
Yeah.
Julian Hill in Melbourne raises it with me. A range of MPs. The South Australian whole Labor contingent is very involved with it. I've had many a meeting with people who are affected, and I'm aware of your petition and your campaign, and I think it's fantastic. So you're right, though, also to point out the government did steal our policy last time and then didn't implement it. So I guess the lesson for that is if you really want the policy to be implemented, you actually have to get elected.
Yeah, and we're quite confident this time. And I really want to thank Steve George and Senator Hon Russell Wortley for doing that. So I mean, they're supporting us for the last 7 years. It's a long time. Thank you.
And can I say on a very personal note, I do understand. My father died during COVID overseas, and I had to, like many people in Australia, I had to say goodbye to him on an iPad and watch his funeral live streamed on Facebook, and I still haven't been able to go and visit his grave. And it's extraordinarily hard.
In a genuine open forum for leaders of the multicultural communities. That doesn't happen very often, and I'm sure when the Senator releases our platform for immigration, you'll find that it's going to be far more compassionate and sensible than leading up to this election. I'd also like to acknowledge Monica Kumar, who's on Zoom as well, for the input. And I'd also just ask you now, once the Senator has released her platform, could you please put it get it out there to your communities, get your community newspaper.
Australia asks her to go to the electorate. There's 151 electorates, so thank you. Thank you, Kristina. A lot of the issues that we spoke about today are issues that affect each and every one of you. I know, and as Kristina knows, that under a Labor government, it'll always be a fairer, better immigration policy. That is one thing I can guarantee. I worked for the Minister of Immigration back in the 90s in the Hawke-Keating government. I've seen the changes in the department. Where we were then when multiculturalism was something positive. It was positive to promote the differences of people from all over the world. It was a positive thing. The Minister would go out every day and promote immigration, promote people that were coming from overseas, promote all the good things. And we've seen a gradual shift of that since the late 90s till today, and it's tipped itself on the head. It's about time we bring it back to where it was in the 90s, where it was a proud thing. It was one of the proudest things of our nation, was our multicultural, our multicultural communities and our magnificent migration policies. It saw millions of migrants settle here in Australia, whether it be as refugees or through the 50s, 60s and 70s to fill manufacturing jobs, and then again through the refugee crisis that have taken place around the world. I want to see this country go back to where it was then, and to build on that, to promote on it, and to really celebrate our migration communities. So I'll be talking to all of you between now and the federal election. As Russell said, please get the message out there for us. Kristina is a phone call away for me. anything that you want to pass through, please let us know. If you didn't get the opportunity today, speak to us. My staff are here. If my staff can put up their hands so you can see them, Angelique, Ellie, and Rosa. So if there's any individual things that we can pick up on, we're more than happy to do so.